Hello, everyone on Circles of Inspiration. Welcome again. So, yesterday you saw me interview one of my dearest friends, Leah Skirdahl, and today we have best-selling author Marisa Ferrera. Marisa, welcome to Circles of Inspiration.
Oh, thank you for having me. I was so excited when you sent me a message asking me to join you today.
Absolutely. I was um I was really, really inspired to connect with you and get you on a Facebook Live here. I'm letting all of my wonderful followers and connections on Circles of Inspiration get connected to some of our wonderful wellness practitioners and well-being coaches and educators that are here in the Wellness for All program and the Wellness Universe itself. I want to let you know that I have some of the greatest followers. The engagement has been amazing lately on my page, and I just felt it was fine time to bring some real people to my followers and my connections on Circles of Inspiration. So thanks for joining me, Marisa.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. So today we're going to be talking about you and how amazing you are. So I'm excited. So, everyone, I just want to let you know. By the way, if you're joining me here live on Facebook, please just comment and let me know where you're coming to me from and where you're at in the world. I love to know. I'm right now situated in Rio de Janeiro, having a little bit workcation time with my husband. And Marisa, where are you from? Where are you at?
I'm actually in Colombia, South America, but I'm from Ontario, Canada, but I prefer it here. Much better weather.
It's so exciting to be
Yeah,
global, right?
yes.
Um, I've known Marisa for quite some time. She's been a member of the Wellness Universe and a close personal friend of mine, and someone who I always refer people out to who are looking for the way that she serves the world and women to have better relationships with their family, friends, loved ones, and themselves. And I felt it was really important to bring your story to the world, Marisa. So we know that you have this amazing book, Magnify Your Magnificence, and we're going to be talking about that in a little while. But I'd like to know a little bit more about you, your background, what's gone on in your life and your personal why for why you want to make the world a better place.
Sure, absolutely. Wow, sometimes I find it really hard to know where to start with that question because having been on this planet for 64 years, it'll be 65 this year, there's just been so much that has gone on in my life. But really, what I need to go back a little bit to the beginning because, like many people, I was brought up in a very dysfunctional family, right? There was a lot of physical and emotional abuse from my father with my sisters were also abused. My mother was a very difficult upbringing. And even though as a child, I always knew that my father loved me, I always had this sense that he just didn't know how to handle his own emotions. So he would go into these, fits of rage and of course project that onto whoever was around him at the time. And so what happened for me, I mean, each of us kind of dealt with it in our own way, but for me personally, it caused me to really shut down because it was much safer for me not to speak, to be invisible, not seen. And so I ended up with no self-confidence and no self-esteem and obviously no voice. And so that really impacted me in a lot of ways because I had difficulty with all relationships. I had difficulty even making friends because I just was so shy and so withdrawn. And so it was a very lonely existence and I was very unhappy, very sad, and obviously very fearful for most of my childhood and young adult years. And so I did reach out to start getting some help in my early 20s because I realized that I just knew that if I didn't start making some changes in my life, that it was never going to change, right? I kept thinking when I changed my outer circumstances, it would change. Like, for example, I left home and went to college and I thought, this is a brand new experience. Nobody knows me. I can start over and everything's going to be great. I'm going to make friends. And that didn't happen. And so I was like, I didn't understand why. Of course, I internalized it and thought there was something wrong with me. Like, well, why doesn't anybody want to be my friend? Why aren't they reaching out, my classmates, when I saw them kind of intermingling with each other? And it wasn't until I started doing some inner healing work with a counselor that I realized that I was putting out this vibe, I guess. You know, I didn't understand any of that in my 20s, right? Vibration, frequency. I mean, that just wasn't part of my vocabulary or my awareness, but I had this vibe, I guess, that was almost like, don't come near me. Right. And so I understood why I created that wall, right? That was my protection from not feeling the pain of the abuse. But like I said, I knew that I didn't want to live my life like that forever and be totally unhappy and never, you know, be able to experience loving somebody or receiving love. And so over the years, you know, I started to heal and started to build relationships and take risks. And so, you know, fast forward a little bit to where I am now. I've just been able to transform relationships, like even with my father. I'm so grateful that I was able to really shift that relationship before he passed away. And we had a very close and loving relationship. And it wasn't so much because he initiated anything. It was the changes that happened within me. I started communicating in a different way with him, and he was able to show up differently in my life. And so I just found that, again, working on myself really made a difference with the relationships around me, and most especially with my family. And so I really feel strongly about wanting to help other women who may also feel shut down for some reason, or who just struggle with their family relationships. Maybe they have difficulty with boundaries and speaking up for themselves. And I know how difficult and fearful that can be, but I also know how you can move past that and really move into that place of authentic self-expression and be able to communicate, you know, in a loving way so that your family members and others respond to you differently. So I don't know if you want me to say more, but that's kind of a general idea of how I got to be here. And the why really is because I really believe in that song, you know, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. So when we can, you know, create that peace within, we extend it outwards. And when we can do that with our families, the ripple effect is just immeasurable.
Marisa, I want to say thank you so much for sharing that. And I want to say congratulations on being so brave and stepping into your wounds and healing through all of that. And then all of the wonderful benefits that you've received on the other end. I want to say I'm a bit envious. I wish that I had met you years and years ago so I could have started the work to mend the fences with my father. I think that, you know, I've shared here on Circles of Inspiration in my newsletters and on rare occasions that, you know, I didn't have the very best relationship with my father. Yes, he was
Mhm.
in my life. Yes, my parents were married until my mom passed away, and then eventually my dad passed away. And he was the normal father figure in my life, but it was a very tumultuous relationship. I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel
Mhm.
nurtured. You know, it was always the blame shame game going on.
Mhm.
You know, and even as an adult, everything that I tried to do to show him, you know, what I was doing, or the awards I've received, or the accolades, or the,
Mhm.
you know, esteemed recognition, it was still, you know, no big deal, or, you know, and it was just this thing. And I realized that I probably could have created a better relationship with him if I understood the relationship between him and I and myself with me
Mhm. Mhm.
better,
Mhm.
because it was always this trying to prove to him that, you know,
Mhm.
I can be the daughter that you want me to be, but I never was. So
No.
unfortunately, my father went into a state of ill mental health. He
Mhm.
wound up with dementia, and that at that point, it's impossible to communicate with somebody
Right.
rationally. And unfortunately, he passed away with us not speaking to each other. So I
Mhm.
do have my regrets around that, and I wish that I had the wherewithal to
Mhm.
know to do better for that relationship, especially
Mhm.
because, you know, it's your dad, you know, or it's your mom, and you know, there's no replacing that individual, and
Mhm.
you really should have a good relationship with them because they do hold so much wisdom, they do hold so much, and what you do for people through this with either their parent or their
Mhm.
spouse or their sibling or their, you know, their son or their daughter.
Mhm.
I think it's so important and so valuable. And I love, by the way, I love at the beginning how you shared your age, because number one, you don't look a day over 30 years old, first of all. So I don't know what your secret is. It may be down in Colombia, but I want to say thank you for being the example, sharing your story, sharing your why. It's powerful. I know it, you know, as a good friend of mine. I know it. I know that you are grounded in that why every day, and you show up every day. And that's the other message that I wanted to relay to, our listeners and my following is that, you know, Marisa, you are someone who actually who continuously and intentionally shows up in your why and delivers such amazing resources for everyone to be able to really have a great relationship with themselves and those that they love. And with that, so you were inspired to write the book Magnify Your Magnificence. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about your book? And also, I hear that you were just revisiting it a little while ago, and you actually inspired yourself from what you had written. So share with me a little bit about your best-selling book.
Okay, first of all, I need to really clarify that this is a book that actually came through me. It was channeled. So I actually didn't write it from my conscious self, if you want to say. And I explained that at the beginning of the book, how it came to be. It's a bit of a story, so I won't go into it in full depth. But having said that, the reason I was kind of re-inspired is because I started taking a look at it just again today because of the program that I know we'll talk about that I'm starting in a couple of days. And I was reading just the beginning, the prologue and the first couple of messages, and these were channeled messages. And I haven't reread the book myself in a while, so I'm really excited about going through this with a group of people. And as I was reading it, I was realizing that, wow, this is really, really profound information. And it was speaking to me again,
Let me
on
stop
a deeper,
you right there.
Yeah, go for
Let
it.
me unapologetically take credit for inspiring yourself with what you had previously put down. I love that. I'm always inspiring people to take that, own that, give yourself that self-love.
Yeah.
So good for you, Marisa. Good for you. Thank you for sharing that. And sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt, but I
No,
had
no,
to.
it's
Go ahead.
okay. It's okay because because I know that, these words are not just for me. First I thought they were, when I was first receiving them, but then I realized it was to be put in a book and to share with the world, which I've done. But yeah, it's almost like it was written for these times. It's really, I'm looking forward to going through it again, like I said, with a group of people where we can really interact and have really deep conversations, and everyone can share their wisdom and their reflections on what the words are saying to them, right? So, and one of the things I really value about what came through with the messages is that I was a teacher in the past. And so for me, I understand the value of information, but to me, just receiving information was never enough if we don't know how to integrate it and how do we apply it in our own lives. And so I was really grateful that with each of the messages that came through, there was an exercise that followed it that was part of the channeled message. I didn't come up with one. I didn't read the message and think, okay, what exercise can I add to this? It was all part of the channeled messages. So we're being given just instructions on how do you apply this? Like, how do you take this and bring it into your own life so that it can actually make a difference for you and the people around you? So I'm looking forward to going through that again as well.
I really love that, and I'm so inspired by that because I know that a lot of us say that, I got an idea or I got inspired and I don't know where it came from, and you again unapologetically say it was channeled, it was from the divine. This isn't from me, but it is from you. It's from you, and you were the one who you were the what is that needle that that catches the lightning, a conduit or a lightning rod, of the divine, and you did receive this. So it is from you, and you were also open enough to, see all of that information, and for also to have these practices that help you to have people apply it into their lives and integrate it into their lives, I think is so valuable, and so much more valuable than, just, messages. Like you said, there's, we could put information out there and create an awareness, but to teach is something else. And then to learn and really take it up, and where it's creating transformation, that's the gold. And I know that that's what you do. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So tell us a little bit more, because now we've turned this into a course and you're going to be launching it on Friday, and it's through Thursday. Sorry, I was a day off.
Okay.
Thursday. And it's called Magnify Your Magnificence, and it's through the Wellness Universe Wellness for All program. It's free to enroll on your program, and it's donation based, so people can support you via donation. So I want to thank you again for supporting everyone, no matter what stage they are at in life, and also no matter what financial situation they're in, to be able to get the help and support they need through you. So tell us a little bit more about your course and also how you're going to be supporting the folks who are coming in and during the live sessions as well as throughout.
Sure. Well, what I've decided to do, and I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and I'm really, and make it available to anyone, because, we all need support. And I know for myself, when finances weren't good and I wanted to be able to participate in things, it was like, oh, if only I had the money. Well, this is a non-issue now, because anyone can join and contribute if they can, and if they can't, they're just as welcome. So what I want to do is, how many times we buy, but this is the book, by the way, you can see my little getting ready for Thursday, but we buy books and we put them on a shelf, right? Or we might start them and put them on a shelf. And so what I've decided to do is actually go through, it's a 12 session program that's going to go for the whole year, starting this month in a couple of days, like we said. And we're going to go through a few of the messages each month. I'm actually going to read them. So people don't even have to buy the book. So it's not even, even if you don't want the book, you don't have to buy it. You can, of course, if you want to, it's on Amazon, but you don't have to own the book. I'm going to actually read all the messages, and we're going to have an opportunity to communicate and have a conversation with the people that show up live. That's why if you come live, it's going to be much more valuable, even though, recordings are available for people who register, but coming live, you get to have a really deep interaction and conversation with the other people that are there. We can, like I said earlier, share our insights, because everyone has different insights. We can share our questions, we can support one another, and we can take the time to actually do the exercises, because that's another thing. When people buy a book that has exercises, it's like they just want to read the book from cover to cover, and I'll do the exercises later, right? And then later never comes. And yet it's in actually doing those exercises, like we spoke about, where the integration happens and where more ahas come up, right? As you journal and you start to really reflect and go inward, that's where the magic is. So we're going to do that together. So it's not, you don't even have, it's just you put aside, an hour and 15 minutes once a month, and we'll get through the whole book by the end of the year. But it's not just about getting through the book. It's about receiving the transformation that's going to happen as we go along. And because we're only meeting once a month, I've also created a private Facebook group for the participants, so that we can come together anytime, any day, any time of day, and support one another through the group by asking questions if things come up, during the month that you're struggling with, and let's help each other out and support one another between our sessions. So I'm really excited. I can hardly wait.
Marisa, I am so excited for this, and I am looking forward to, because like I said, this touches my heart personally, because of where I've been just, expressing that through our conversation. But like you said, getting together and everyone as a collective feeling like I'm normal here, everyone's going through this process, but you're making me actually do the tool, or do the resource that you're giving to them, and go through the practice and the technique. It really up levels, and it really does transform. Because I can't tell you how many times I'm one of those lazy people, I'm going to admit it, where I read something and I read that I'm supposed to be doing something, and I'll read about it, but I won't actually do it.
Yeah, you're not alone. I've done the same. I think we've all done it. We've all done it. And I do want to mention, I did forget, one other benefit of joining live is that you can also receive some personalized coaching from me when you're there. Like, so if something's actually happened with a family member or whatever, we can talk about it. And that's why I've made the program a little bit longer than the 60 minutes to make sure we have time for that. And of course, I'll probably go longer if people want to stick around, but
you're so selfless. Your heart is so huge. And I want to say thank you for that, because, and this is where the gold is, because I love sitting with you, and I love speaking with you, Marisa. I love it. And I love when you're in teacher mode and you're in presenter mode. And I love it when you're in coaching mode and you're really coming together with your group. So I love experiencing you on these several different, I mean, because you've been speakers on our a speaker on our panels, you blog for us at the Wellness Universe, and now you're really creating this cohesive space where we all can show up, all feel normal, and come and get help and get our cup filled. So
Mhm.
I personally can't wait for your session, and I really am looking forward to it. I actually dropped the link in the
Okay, perfect.
comments of the live so everyone can take a look at that and register. And if you have any questions, please drop the questions in the comments, and Marisa's going to come back afterwards and respond to any of your questions or any of your comments. And you can also connect with Marisa also. But Marisa, one last thought, one last
Mhm.
inspiration. I'd like to know if there's one thing that can come out of everything that's led up till now and all your journey to connect the world to magnify your magnificence, what is it that you really want to leave the world with?
Well, that's a great question. I think what I would like to leave the world with is that we were all born, I believe, as a magnificent being of light. And that light was just covered over or blocked or dimmed because of our life circumstances. For me, it was the abuse. For somebody else, it could be something else. And so our light just gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, and we forget who we are. So it's really about remembering the truth of who we are, a magnificent being of light. And we are here to share that light with each other so that we have a world that's just full of light. Let's just, I mean, what more could you have? I mean, if we're all lighting up, then there is no darkness.
I love that. And I really felt that as you said it. And it's true, like when we're children, we are so innocent and so open and so expressive and so creative, and it's like all of that kind of gets pulled away from us little
Mhm.
by little, and it's so wonderful to have you here to help us get back to that, get back to who we really are, like you said, the truth of who we are, so we can,
Mhm.
and I love using the phrase experience life
Yes,
wonderfully,
yes.
because it's really our experience of life. It's not life. Life could be anything. It could be a good day, it could be a bad day. You could find happiness in the rain. It's the way you
Mhm.
experience life.
Mhm.
So I want to thank you for helping us, guiding us through to a better life experience. So thank you so much, Marisa. I hope
Yeah.
that everyone enjoyed being here with us today. And again, everyone who's joined us live, please comment and connect with Marisa, and also Magnify Your Magnificence goes live, the launch of her 12 session course. And you got to be on it from the beginning because it really is a transformational journey. It goes live on Thursday, and I dropped the link in there. Marisa, thank you so much for being my guest today. I love you so much, and I'm sending you a great big hug.
Okay, love you back and sending hugs back.